What's going on? What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I'm your host, Gran Jefe. Get ready for another episode of Unpopular Opinion. Joined as always by my co-host, OG Raw. How you doing, bro?
Man, it's gonna be a great day today. The sun's out, shining bright. So, it's gonna be a good day today in Washington. How you
Hey, it's
doing?
always a good day when the sun come up, bro. It's always a good day, man. I'm doing all right, though, man. Before we get started with today's show, guys, as you heard, today will be a great day. We do have an interview with Matthew Lyle. Stay tuned for that coming up a little bit later on. But big news, we finally got approved for iHeartRadio. So big shout out to that. Appreciate you guys for however you listen to the podcast. We thank you for your continued support. Continue to listen, download, leave us a rating. Without further ado, let's go ahead and kick this show off, man. Chiefs fired Bob Sutton yesterday. Defensive coordinator is out. This one, if you know anything about football, this is probably one that most people kind of thought would happen, and it did. Overall thoughts. Do you think that this firing of Bob Sutton now? Do you think that this would elevate the Chiefs now to go to the Super Bowl? You think they could take that next step?
I don't think this helps them at all, really. If I look at it, the Chiefs' defense was banged up all year, right? You got your secondary. You got Eric Berry, who's your leader of your defense, who's always hurt. First of all, this is not Bob Sutton's fault per se. This is more of I think, an Andy Reid problem. And this always happens with Andy Reid. He'll get you to the playoffs. But getting over the humps that are the teams that are in the playoffs, that's the real problem. I don't think they would do anything as long as Andy Reid is over there. They had a chance to beat the New England Patriots. They basically messed that chance up. And this isn't Bob Sutton's fault. That's not his fault. That is Andy Reid's fault. He is the head coach of that team. And I believe all the issues and underlying problems reside within him.
My exact sentiments. Bob Sutton is not the reason why you kept giving up 15 slants. That's common sense. That every time they run, on third down, you know what they're gonna run. I said the same thing. I'm glad that we are right here on the same page with this. Now, I can understand the firing because he's the overseer. He's the guy that's supposed to be in charge of making things look right on that side of the ball. But I said this exact same thing you said. It's hard to be good on defense when your two best players are hurt. If a lot of people remember, Justin Houston was hurt for a huge chunk of this season. And it was just only D Ford trying to carry the load. Eric Berry, another guy, who's the heart and soul of that defense, banged up. So if you ask me, no, Bob Sutton, should he be fired? Probably. I mean, maybe the guys just need a new voice. But if you asking me, is he the problem? Is he the reasoning why the Chiefs didn't make it to the Super Bowl, or he the reasoning why the Chiefs are not an elite team? Then I have to disagree with that. And I look at it like this: guys like Richard Sherman, Jalen Ramsey, these guys study film, and they know if you listen to these guys talk. Jalen Ramsey said it. If a guy line up in this split, well, he's probably only going to run these two routes. If he do this, by tendencies, by watching film, I know what guys are going to do. To me, it don't seem like the Kansas City defense guys watch film outside of when their coaches make them watch film. Because you look at this game, or you look at any game this year, it's the same stuff. Guys just line up and beat them. I don't know how you can put that on a guy that's not on the field. I can put you in position to win or succeed, but if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, then what else do you want me to do? So
yeah, and to your point, you gotta excuse me, you gotta take the extra mile, to study film and learn what your opponent's doing. You can't just put it all on the defensive coordinator. That's kind of messed up to me. If you want to succeed in something, you gotta be willing to do the extra things to be great at it.
Exactly.
And the cornerbacks they have the hardest job in the NFL. When you got to guard a receiver that you can barely touch, like that is the hardest job. And I'm talking about receivers that do double moves. They can,
You're talking about guys that run 4.3, man. Some of the best athletes in this world.
And that can jump out this world. So it's they have the hardest job. So they got to go the extra mile if they really want to be a great cornerback or be known as a great defensive player.
Exactly.
And that's not all up on Bob Sutton.
People say quarterback is the hard position in football. I disagree. You already know where you want to go with the football. You have the advantage.
Exactly.
You have the advantage. Now, it may take a lot more smarts to play quarterback. I don't agree. I don't disagree there. But the hardest position in football is a defensive back that's out there on the island by himself and don't know what the receiver is going to run. You can know by tendencies. Okay, he got a wide split. He could probably only run a go route. He could probably only run post slants or dig anything inside. But you don't see that post corner coming. You don't see that slant and go coming. You don't see that stop and go coming. It's one of the toughest positions in football. And if you're not disciplined enough to hone your craft, then you're going to look just how the Kansas City Chiefs defensive secondary was the other day. Every time on third down, they let a slant go. It's truly amazing that they just kept letting it happen. Now, they say Steve Spagnuolo is supposed to be the favorite to win that defensive coordinator job. We'll see if he can make anything shake right there, but I'm not so sure about that. We had some more news yesterday, man, coming out of, I guess, the boxing world. I guess we can call it that, being that Floyd is retired. Manny Pacquiao said yesterday, I only want to continue to fight the best. If Floyd can no longer fight at my level, then, of course, he should stay retired. What do you think? I'm going to ask you two questions in this. What do you think will happen? And do you want to see Mayweather Pacquiao Part 2?
Me, honestly, I'm over Pacquiao Mayweather. I'm over it. The last fight, it didn't live up to the hype, I don't believe. It was a cool fight.
It's pretty boring fight. It's pretty boring.
Like it was a cool fight or whatever, but it wasn't like, like watching someone like the Bronze Bomber or I like to see knockouts.
Even like Canelo Triple G.
Yeah, Canelo Triple G. I like to see people letting their hands fly. That fight, the first fight to me, it was just it looked like they was just afraid of each other. Like they didn't want to get hit. No one wanted to do anything.
Pacquiao was letting them things fly on Adrian Broner the other day.
Adrian Broner. We all know what Adrian Broner brings to the table.
He said he won. Leave him alone, bro.
Yeah.
My man won the fight.
And I'm just so going back to the Adrian Broner fight though. I'm just so disappointed in him. And he's a bad example for black people everywhere. I get it. You thought you. I don't even know how he think he wanted to fight. Just
I don't either.
Sport. Shut up. Don't be pitting on guiding them and telling
in the hood,
taking the hood for coming out. Come on, man. We on national TV. And this is why black people are connected to these things, and we got people like him going on national TV that have influence over these young kids saying stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I don't want to see Pacquiao Mayweather Part 2. First fight was boring. I don't want to see a guy just coming out here just to get his money and robbing the fans. Now it's still up to the fans to pay for it. Nobody's making them. Nobody is making people buy this. But I'm right there with you. Nobody want to see no freaking Pacquiao Mayweather Part 2. This boring.
And we know what it's about, though.
Yeah, you trying to get that money.
It's a money thing. We know it's a money thing. The first time, cool. We ain't never seen them fight before, but now we know it's a money thing.
Exactly,
it's a money thing.
I'm right there, which I don't want to see it. But as promised, we have Matthew Lyle of Cross Sport Network, Big Blue Breakdown on the other line, as promised, as always, for our weekly Wednesday Fire. How you doing today, Matthew?
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for having me on. One of my favorite things to do is the Wednesday to the show. I love the environment you guys bring and create. I'm thrilled to be here.
Always a pleasure, bro. We appreciate you.
So let's get right into it. I haven't talked to my buddy, man. I haven't talked to you in this form in about 2 weeks now.
Well, real quick, I was eavesdropping as y'all snuck me in. Well, the mold has been broken. Nobody.
Let's hear what you got to say about that.
Nobody wants to see Pacquiao, Mayweather. Nobody wants to see boxing.
True.
They want the mold was broken when they gave us a loudmouth MMA fighter versus a boxer. And then when he stood a chance, the next thing we want to see, we don't want to see Mayweather do anything but get in the octagon with
Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor. That's what we want to see. So
I'm with you on that. I want to see it. I want to see it. He came to your territory, wasn't scared to fight you. I would like to see that. Although I think Florida get manhandled, I don't even think that'd be even close. No. It'll be a more lopsided victory than what Floyd won in the boxing ring.
Come on, Billy. We in Japan kickboxing. You know what I mean? Come on.
Being your boxing purist will watch anything boxing. Let's
for sure.
So let's put them outside of this conversation. We're your new instant gratification, show me something crazy generation. We don't want to see what we've already seen.
Yep.
There's a reason when you see a sequel to a movie, it doesn't have the same antagonist.
Especially when you charge me $100.
Exactly. So we would rather see him fight a kangaroo before we want to see him fight a fight he's already fought and won.
For
Very
sure.
True.
So,
for sure.
I just think, as far as the public goes, especially to your point, Billy, the paying pay-per-view public, you got to give us something fresh if you want my debit card number.
Exactly. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Let's switch gears here. I'm going to ask both of y'all these questions, and Matthew, you're going to go first, and then, OG, you can follow. I'm going to start off with something kind of hard, but I think something that we all kind of think about. What is the team, one team or two team that has the best shot outside of New England and outside of the Rams that have the best shot to get to the Super Bowl next year?
You're going to have to always go Chiefs. I think Patrick Mahomes is the one guy that can get over Andy Reid's inability to win the big game.
And we just talked about Bob Sutton as well before you got on.
As long as Mahomes can stay healthy, I think you got to keep him into consideration. And as long as the owner doesn't mess it up, I'm okay. I'm seeing a lot of potential with the Colts. Now, the owner can't go out here and do something reckless, let somebody go and give a big contract to somebody who doesn't need a big contract. But based on what I'm seeing now, beside those two teams, I'll take the Chiefs and the Colts. Obviously, as of now, after the offseason, the draft, there's a lot of things that could change. But as of right now, if we're not taking the two teams that are already in it, I'll take those two.
See, Billy, you said
I know where you're going to go.
You said this was going to be hard.
I know you're going to go.
For me, this is not hard.
Don't say the Bears. Don't say the Bears.
You have a team in Chicago that wear blue and orange. They are called the Chicago Bears. They have an outstanding quarterback in Mitch Trubisky. They have elite receivers in Allen Robinson, Taylor Gabriel.
This is a true fan right here.
I know. He is very loose with these words. Elite.
Andre Miller. We have elite receivers. We have elite running backs. I'm talking Jordan Howard. I'm talking Benny Cunningham.
An elite kicker.
Tyreek Hill.
Yes, elite kicker.
Then we might get an elite kicker in Kareem Hunt. So I don't know what you talking about when you talking about this is gonna be hard. And then that defense, that elite defense that we have, come on.
What's gonna happen losing your defensive coordinator? You guys lost Vic Fangio. Is that gonna mean anything?
Not a thing. Not a thing. And the reason why it won't mean a thing is because it was time for Vic Fangio to go. We didn't dial up enough blitz against them Eagles. It was time for him to go. So, hey, he got to go.
Well, who's your other one? Who's the other one, then? If it's obviously
he only cares about the Bears.
Oh, my.
He only cares about the Bears. And Matthew say you use those words loosely. I think that's an understatement. Loosely was a...
Come on.
No, loosely was definitely an understatement.
No, I forgot. Hold on.
And then he said elite receivers, Matthew. That's what he said.
I forgot to add, we got elite tight ends too. Trey Burton, Adam Sheehan or whatever. Sheehan. We got a lead tight end.
No.
Now.
If you can't pronounce their name, they don't get
He
the
ain't
elite status. So what you have is you have a top-notch front seven or front four with an opportunistic secondary, a decent quarterback, a
decent running back.
I'll even give it a wide-ranging set of running backs, considering you can go big with Howard and then loose with Cohen. And then you got some – because this is a debate I've been having for the last month. For the most part, you don't need a true number one as long as you have a decent offensive coordinator. So you have good pieces. Just like I'll say Julian Edelman is a great piece, is a perfect piece for the Patriots, but I wouldn't call him elite. He's a perfect
Nate Burleson the other day called him a Hall of Famer. That's what Nate Burleson said.
Oh, he's definitely a Hall of Famer. He's definitely Julian Edelman. Come on, man.
See,
Julian Edelman got what 2-3 Super Bowls?
Listen to me now. There's been some good receivers in this league that probably won't even sniff the Hall of Fame. Julian Edelman is a clutch. He's clutch. He's clutch. I give him that. I haven't seen a receiver as clutch as what the catches that Julian Edelman come up with time and time again. But Hall of Famer.
So when you look at Hall of Fame leagues and the way they look their Hall of Fame, the NBA will let anybody in if you made a cultural impact. I mean, if you made a cultural impact, we will let you in. I mean, Bugs Bunny could get into the Basketball Hall of Fame because what he did with Space Jam in 1996 and our generation. Baseball, then you got baseball on the opposite end where they're like,
we're going to talk about that later on as well.
If you've ever jaywalked, we're not letting you in. Football's not as bad as that, but football still holds
right in the middle.
Holds their people to a high standard. And Julian Edelman has had a great postseason. He played in 17 games, and he's second behind only Jerry Rice in most categories. Now, Jerry Rice played in 29 postseason games, so he'll never even catch that. So he's had a great postseason, but I don't think the NFL Hall of Fame lends itself to a half a story. They want the whole picture. And they're not going to be as hardcore as Major League Baseball, but they're still going to say, you've been in the league for almost a decade now. You have 30 touchdown catches. That's not a good – yes, you have a couple rings, but as a Patriots fan, he will definitely be in the Patriots Ring of Fame, Hall of Fame, whatever they call that.
For sure.
Because of –
he would never be forgotten there. Never be forgotten.
To your point, what he does – and actually, to not even steal the show, I was thinking this the other day. The year before he made his introduction to the Patriots was the year that Wes Welker dropped that key fourth down pass in the Super Bowl versus the Giants.
Yep.
If you would have put Edelman out there a year sooner, maybe he would have been ready, but he's much more clutch. But either way, he's going to hold his spot in New England. But when you look at everything, and to Billy's point, T.O. wasn't first ballot or first
took him three times.
Yeah,
three times.
So there's a lot they got to get to because there's a lot of better, mouthier receivers that they're going to have to get to because apparently that's a big thing for them.
Let's put Demaryius Thomas in there.
So
I mean, he's done just about as much as Edelman. I don't think Demaryius Thomas is going to get in the Hall of Fame. I just don't see that.
I mean, you're going to have to get the guys like Ocho Cinco, who
he may even struggle to get in.
Right, and it may take him a while. So I just don't unless, and I give this the pity vote unless Edelman lives to be 98. And then they let him in as one of these
honorary.
Honor. You always see like the really, really old person you'd never heard of, unless it's like that.
Yeah, but, I agree with that statement there. Let's switch gears real quick. To another wide receiver, Larry Fitzgerald did this morning. News came through that he's going to sign a 1-year deal to return for his 16th season. To play in Arizona. Now, a lot of people are speculating that this got something to do with the record, being that he's only like 20-something yards away from being second all the time. Do you think do you think he's going to help the Cardinals, or do you think he's doing this for his own benefit?
Look, so I want to start off on this one because Larry Fitzgerald. I get it. I get it. You're loyal. You're loyal to the Cardinals. But, dude, you wasted your whole career with these people.
Yep.
And they've gotten Nathan.
Yep.
Nathan. And I really like his loyalty. But, hey, man, sometimes if you want to go out and win something, I guess that's how he plans on getting into the Hall of Fame. We get it. Larry Fitzgerald, he's a Hall of Famer, right? He's a future Hall of Famer. And I guess staying with that one team is, I think that's what's going to do it for him. That's what's going to put him over the top.
Well, New England's got 10 draft picks, not first round, 10 draft picks this year. Throw 3 or 4 of them to Arizona and get Larry Fitzgerald a ring or get him closer than he's been to the Super Bowl. But get him close as he's going to get now.
Wouldn't that be something?
That would be great.
That would be lovely.
Because
that would be lovely.
And everybody's like,
did we lose Matthew there?
No, I'm here. Can you hear me?
No, Matthew's still here.
I think we lost him as far as the audio go. We'll be right back with Matthew Lyle as we fix the but you can go ahead and give me your take on the Larry Fitzgerald, because I also thought I also seen where a lot of people are saying and if you can hear me, Matthew, yeah, you could just hang up and we'll bring you back in here. But I've seen a lot of people saying that send him to New England, and that could almost break the iceberg. You give him a receiver like Larry Fitzgerald, that could be deadly for a guy like Tom Brady. What you think about that?
I don't know. Larry Fitzgerald, he about to be like 40 or something. He been in the league a long time.
Yeah, he's 36.
Yeah,
he's 36. Yeah, I've been playing the NCAA when he was on the front.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, and Larry Fitzgerald, he ain't the fastest receiver, but he has great hands. That's one thing. Yeah, that's one thing about him. He does have great hands, and he's dedicated to his craft. So he can run a route. He can still do all those great things because, like I said, he's dedicated to it, and he goes out to study. And I like the the news of Larry Fitzgerald maybe going to the Patriots, because maybe they'll win him something. He deserves something.
He deserves
after playing for a franchise like the Cardinals. For all these years, they had chances, to get to the Super Bowl.
They were in the Super Bowl.
And they lost it. Exactly. And they lost it. So, I'm excited for Larry Fitzgerald, but let me just say he's not going to win anything with the Cardinals.
Yeah, I think we got Matthew back in here. Can you hear us now, Matthew?
I can. I think the app that we're using here, it likes to butt the third person out. So if you lose me again, my bad, guys.
Well, I think that was my fault because I had turned off my Wi-Fi and I went on straight, network, and I think that's why it always cuts the third person off. But you can go ahead and finish your statement about the Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah, obviously I would love him to be in the Patriots. That's a little bit of a personal thing because I love Larry Fitzgerald and I love the Patriots. And I think he would fit because he's not a Tyreek Hill type of guy anymore. I don't know if he ever was, but he's not that kind of guy. He's not going to go and run 70-yard bombs anymore. So New England would fit like a glove. As far as your original question, Billy, I think it's both. I don't think he's a selfish guy at all. So I think if he felt he was hurting the team, he would wrap it up. He still feels like he can offer them something and help his legacy. I think he's going to take that. And as far as the impact he has on his team, until we see who they draft, really him and David Johnson's the only thing that keeps those fans coming back for the short term.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
I mean, obviously, don't get me wrong, would love to see him in any different uniform of a contender, but especially the Patriots. Right, but as far as Arizona goes, I think he's a very loyal guy. He seems very outstanding, like he has his values.
He's too loyal.
Stick to him. To a fault, indeed. But I think everybody helps everybody in this situation.
Switching gears, baseball Hall of Fame has been released. The guys that made the Hall of Fame, Mariano Rivera's the first unanimous thing. But I want to talk about the guys that didn't make it. The Bonds, Clemens, and I'm losing the other one. But do you think these guys will ever get in?
Yeah, yes. I'm going to say yes on the fact that we'll as time goes on, what they've done or their allegations or everything with their especially Bonds steroid era will become less offensive, even though baseball likes to hold on to it like we're still living in 1950. I think eventually, yes. I think I even see Pete Rose getting in as we start to move to a time where it's openly gambling on everything. It's going to take a really long time because of the way they view their Hall of Fame and the way they view their history. It's going to take a really long time, but eventually, yes, I think they will.
Yeah, I do believe they'll eventually get in. It's just, yeah, like you said, Matt, it comes with timing, man. Timing is everything. And as soon as, we get new leadership within the MLB and new rules per se, and they rectify the situation where players are using steroids, or what's the other thing where they're blood doping. They're using things like that, and once they get to the root of it, I think they can really do something and try to at least pit these players. And because, let's face it, Barry Bonds, he deserves to be in there.
Barry Bonds is the best baseball player that I've ever laid eyes on.
He deserves to be in there. He made me a baseball fan growing up. He made lots of people baseball fans growing up. He was probably the first player I've ever watched play baseball, just because I heard so much from him. And I think those guys, they deserve to be in there, no matter what the allegations were, or because baseball, let's get it. You can take as many steroids as you want, but not everyone has that hand and eye coordination to hit a ball.
And that's what I always say. That's always my thing. And I'm going to use what Matthew just said about Julian Edelman. I think these guys will eventually get in, but it's going to be when they're 98 and they can barely walk, and after everything is already over with. I don't really understand, this thing of keeping people out. If you look at Barry Bonds' pre-steroid era number, Pittsburgh Pirate Barry Bonds, that's one of the greatest baseball players that I've ever seen. You just take those numbers pre-steroid era and you put them beside Ken Griffey Jr. numbers. Ken Griffey Jr. probably couldn't even shine Barry Bonds' shoes. I'm just going to be real with you. This guy, for them to keep letting him sit out, and to your point, you still got to have hand-eye coordination. You still have to be able to hit the ball, and it's not like Barry Bonds was a slouch in the outfield either. This guy was such a great baseball player, and it is a shame that we have to depend on writers who most of the time, half of them never even played baseball. We have to depend on these people to say whether or not somebody is a Hall of Famer, when I thought the Hall of Fame really goes by what's on the field. And that goes to the football argument. T.O. had to wait 3 times to get into the Hall of Fame. Seriously? This guy, when he retired, was number 1, 2, or 3 in every single statistical category for a wide receiver. And because you don't like him, you're going to keep him out, when it's supposed to be about my production on the field. I don't. So yeah, I do. Eventually, he will get in, or all 3 of them will get in. But this is a travesty, honestly, man. That have these guys have to wait. Barry Bonds been on the ballot for 10 years. Really?
Yeah, that's insane.
Jeff Bagwell made it to the Hall of Fame like a few years ago. Jeff Bagwell is nowhere near the baseball player Barry Bonds is. It's truly, I don't know what to say about the Baseball Hall of Fame, honestly, man. But that's their way of doing it. They adopt their old way of doing it, and I guess you can't be mad at the way that they choose to run their league. I don't understand. Go ahead. You had something else?
I was just going to say, I think, honestly, as bad as it sounds, I think that's their way of staying relevant. They refuse to change, so they make such a big hoopla out of these rules, so you have something to watch. Because if we're not having this discussion, I think the opposite end of the discussion is a lot less interesting. We're not really sticking around for Barry Bonds' greatness or these other guys' greatness, but we will, because we do like Barry Bonds. We do like Mark McGwire, Pete Rose, some of these guys, Sammy Sosa, but because we have fond memories. You talk about how you got into baseball. I got into baseball of the 98 race, McGwire and Sosa. So if you just say they're in, we're going to have a quick memory of it, and we're like, hey, that was good times, and then we're done. But if you say they're never getting in, and we put this hard stance, let's be honest, if Pete Rose had gotten into the Hall of Fame back in the day, the man wouldn't be on your commercials. He wouldn't be talked about this time every year. And I don't think he's a part of it. I don't think he enjoys it because he wants to get in the Hall of Fame. But I think this stuff's just a part of baseball trying to stay relevant in a climate where we enjoy the fast pace, the bigger sports. I think this is them being stubborn for the sake of entertainment. I don't think the players are. I don't think the players are a part of it. I'm not saying that this is some big cahoot, but I think when they sit there and have their vote, they say somebody's like, I think Barry Bonds is a cheater, and then they just say, hey, look how fun it would be if he wasn't in it, and then Barry Bonds gets the shaft because of it.
I think if it was because of the play, I think if it was up to the players, Barrett Bonds would have already been.
Absolutely,
already would have been a Hall of Famer. I think, and that's what I think to me should matter. The players should be the only people that get a say so really, and whether or not somebody is a Hall of Famer, because it and I get it. You're still going to have that human aspect of, I don't like this guy, so I probably won't vote for him. But most players normally recognize other players' greatness because they also went through that struggle. You know,
exactly.
These writers that don't know it. Well, I won't say that don't know anything because they know a lot of baseball or they know a lot of football, or whatever. But who haven't played the sport, and for you to say, because you got in trouble off the field, you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, or you don't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't think that's right to take that away from somebody. Marvin Harrison was out here allegedly killing people, and we're talking about T.O. was a bad teammate, a guy that played in the Super Bowl on a broke leg. I don't understand logic half these times on the way that these writers do stuff, but that's a topic for another day. Switching gears back to the NFL, man, Cole Beasley has some interesting words. I don't know if you guys seen it. They asked him about, Scott Linehan getting fired and all that other stuff, and he said the front office pushes who they want to get the ball, which is the reason why he wasn't, a big part of the offense. Now he is a free agent. Do you see him coming back, or do you see him going somewhere else?
After a statement like that, Cole Beasley might well pack his bags, hang it up, and look for another team. And because, it's the truth over there with the Cowboys. This is what they do. We know, we know they push their big-time receivers to get the ball. We know once Amari Cooper got there, they was like, oh, yeah, Amari Cooper's getting this ball. And before Amari Cooper got there, their other number one option, Mike
Gallup.
Yeah, Mike Gallup was their next guy in line. So I really do believe there's a lot of substance to what he's saying. And we expect that from the Cowboys. We expect that from Jerry Jones. He is the coach of that team. The coach,
the micromanager of all micromanagers.
Yeah, exactly. And their coach Jason Garrett, he's just a face, really. If you look at the sideline, he's usually just clapping. That's
why Skip Bayless called him Coach Clap.
Yeah. So and that's what I see. And for him to come out and say that, we knew that already, but it just shows. This is what kind of organization the Cowboys is, and this is why they would never go anywhere.
Yeah, there's typically two types of products that get released. There's always the sound sturdy, your MacBook, your iPad, your whatever, and then there's the flashy one that's probably not as good, but equally as expensive. But man, it looks good laying on your desk or whatever. That's what the Cowboys are. They're not putting out the sound sturdy product of the Patriots, so they have to put out something flashy. A guy like Cole Beasley, who's not a big-time face, who's not a big-time marketable player, who doesn't make big-time marketable plays, fits much better in a New England than he does in a Dallas. AB needs to go to Dallas because he'll get all the prime and shine he wants down there. So I completely agree. And I mean, it's facts. I mean, if you're a team that doesn't make a splash in the record column, you got to make a splash somewhere else. Cole Beasley doesn't make that splash. So there's going to be that animosity. But if you're Cole Beasley, you got to watch out too, because you're good. I like Cole Beasley, but he fits a certain style. That certain style typically doesn't pay too well. New England isn't exactly, even though they use the crap out of that type of player, they're not lining up with checkbooks to hand you $8-10 million. So, and then if you go to a place like Oakland or Buffalo,
you may get your money.
You're going to get your money, but you're going to get exposed, and it's not guaranteed, and now you don't have no money. So I get it. It's frustrating, and it's very true, and I'm sure, especially right now, seeing guys like Julian Edelman ball is making you excited for your opportunities. But let's just pump the brakes, because like my man over here said, after saying that, you better have your bags packed. Are you ready to pack your bags, Cole Beasley? Because The grass is not that much greener on the other side. I can assure you.
Oh, them bags
Exactly.
better be packed already. I'm hoping them bags is already packed before he even thought to make that statement, because there's no way Jerry Jones don't like anybody to speak out against what he's doing. And being in the military, and I'm sure OG, you can contest to this. We hate micromanagers. We hate somebody that don't let us do our jobs as if we don't know. And I'm sure that's anybody, but I just know this happens a lot in the military. It's like, you put me in charge for a reason. I don't need you overseeing me, Big Sarge. I got this. Like, you put me in charge. I got this. I don't need that. Jerry Jones is that type. He's the micromanager, and that's the reason why he keeping Jerry Jones on the sideline. The reason why he didn't win more Super Bowls with Jimmy Johnson, because he wanted to be the guy. So, yeah, Cole Beasley, it was a nice run in the Big D, but I hope you know that you're going somewhere this offseason, and it won't be in Dallas.
So let's be honest. Let me see how I can word this. If you're an undersized position wide receiver, because that's what it fits. He has no speed. He has some agility. He's got some nice route running, but he's specifically possession guy. We all know what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to succeed in a willy-nilly run wherever you want, get open Tyreek Hill offense. You're going to succeed in a micromanaged, be where I say, when I say there, be open when I tell you type of wide receiver. Julian Edelman couldn't do near the stuff he does in Kansas City. But when Tom Brady and Josh McDaniel and Bill Belichick says, hey, I want you to go 5.6 yards, turn right, take 2 steps, turn left, you'll be wide open. By God, you better do that. And you will be wide open.
And you're going to be open.
You're going to be open. So now all you got to do is do what they said and catch the ball. I get it.
Now, I do agree with that point, because that is a good example, because that's basically how it is. Just do what I say, and you will be open, and you will catch 100 balls every year.
Exactly. So now, if Cole Beasley catches 100 balls and wins the Super Bowl, he might be all right with you telling him what to do.
True.
So I don't
because winning cures all. Winning cures all, and you normally don't hear this stuff until you start losing, and then that's when all the reports come out. So let me I got 2 more questions for both of y'all. And me and OG, we talked about this yesterday, but I'm curious to hear what you think about this. The reports about, and you put it in the group chat like last week before this thing even caught fire. But now it done caught fire. The Carson Wentz situation about being called selfish. Do you think these reports are true, or do you think somebody's fabricating these things about Nick Foles?
Can it be everything? I mean,
yes.
So I think if you're Fletcher Cox, if you're other big name guys who don't really interact with him much, you don't care. It's not true. From what you know, he's a good guy. But if you're a receiver, if you're Alshon Jeffries, if you're Nelson Aguilar, you probably spend a lot more time with the guy.
Don't get my co-host started on Alshon Jeffries. Don't get him started.
I won't. But if you're these guys who, let's be honest, when Wentz is out there, he really likes getting the ball to his tight ends. If you're a wide receiver, you already have preset notions or preset determined thoughts against the guy. So all you need is just a little bit extra. So let's just say he is a little bit selfish. Let's say he's a little bit of a baby or whatever come out. Well, if you don't deal with him on a day-to-day basis, if your job isn't depending on his job, we all do it with coworkers. If your job isn't dependent on him doing his job well, you're okay with it. But if you're with him every day and he's still not getting you the ball and he's making you look bad, then that little bit of a baby, that little bit of a jerk, that little bit of a butthole in him starts looking huge. So I think it's all true, but I don't think any one person is more truthier than the other one. As silly as that sounds, I know it's not a real word. I don't think he's as innocent as he comes across, but I don't think he's near as bad as whoever this unnamed source is. Which, let's be real, it's probably
there was supposed to be
Jeffrey.
There was supposed to be 3 or several. They didn't name how many. They say several unnamed teammates. Of him.
He has several wide receivers. So
Alshon Jeffrey said he had the best hands in the NFL, right?
Oh,
He said it's the top 5 receivers in the NFL. Alshon Jeffrey, Alshon Jeffrey, Alshon Jeffrey, Alshon Jeffrey, Alshon Jeffrey. Right?
Freddie Mitchell's.
I told you not to get him started on
I'm
Alshon Jeffrey.
so
He's still
sick
bitter
of-
because Alshon Jeffrey left his
Alshon
Chicago
Jeffrey.
Bears.
But in all
Alshon
fairness,
Jeffrey did this.
no,
I'm
look,
putting it on him.
I know you are clearly, but so if you were to tell me, I'm not going to make accusations. If you were to tell me this was Alshon Jeffries, I'd be like, well, that makes sense. I'm okay, because you can clearly tell Alshon Jeffries is more comfortable with Nick Foles. Even on the big play where he dropped, it went right through his hands for interception. Who was the one embracing him? It was Nick Foles. So, yes, if you were to tell me that these come from Alshon Jeffries, I'm going to be like, I saw that coming.
Well, that's kind of what I said yesterday, man. Like everybody on the football team, they have cliques. And it could be true, that he's selfish and he likes people, according to the report, to kiss his A word and and all this other stuff, and he don't like to take accountability. All that stuff could be true. We heard the same thing coming out of Pittsburgh with Big Ben and Antonio Brown. He's selfish. He don't like to take accountability, and everybody always take his side. I said yesterday, I'm a Florida State fan. I seen it happen with DeAndre Francois. Everybody came out and said he was selfish and he was this and he was that. And when James Blackman got in there to play quarterback, the team responded differently to James Blackman than they did all season to DeAndre Francois. So, yeah, it could be true. And it could also be, to your point, if you don't deal with him every day, then yeah, I can see that. But I'm with you on there. I think the two both can be true, that he can be a good leader. But to some people, he may not be their cup of tea.
Yeah, I mean, take your buddy Royal here. Let's just say he's a jerk. Obviously,
he is a jerk, by the way. He's just being nice right now.
You're going to be able to relay that. You're going to have a different opinion. I mean, we've all technically, worked together. We've done these shows a couple times. And if a report came out that he was, something horrible, you're going to have a stronger opinion on that. I'm like, hey, he seems like a cool guy to me. I ain't got no problem with him. But you're going to have more passionate words. And I think that's why I truly think this came out on the offensive side of the ball. And I'm definitely not ruling out the fact that it was probably a receiver.
Yeah, it's definitely Alshon Jeffrey.
He said definitely Alshon.
Definitely Alshon.
He's like, I don't want to.
I don't care who else.
But it's definitely. He's like,
it's definitely Alshon Jeffrey.
Yeah, I'm not saying
know it's him.
I'm not saying I know who it is, but I know it's Alshon Jeffrey.
But it's Alshon Jeffrey.
Yeah, traitor. Alshon Jeffrey, a traitor.
All right, so we're gonna move to our last topic of the day, and this is something that's kind of near and dear to all of us, being that Matthew, you are a Golden State Warriors fan. My co-host over here is I don't know. I know me and him both are Laker fans. No, let me take that back. Both LeBron fans. He just chose to adopt the Lakers. I can't do it because I can't stand the Laker fan base. But there's been a lot of reports coming out saying it's been happening since last year and all that as well. But since Clay is starting to heat up and all that other stuff, that he would make the Lakers an instant title contender. Do you believe that all the Lakers is missing is Klay Thompson to get them over the hump? Because we know Golden State Warriors is the that's the standard.
So yes, it does until it doesn't, and I love saying those, but I hate them at the same time. So when you get the Klay Thompson that you got last night and this past couple of weeks, then absolutely yes, because LeBron can do whatever he wants. LeBron loves to have a guy that sits in the corner and hits wide open threes. Klay can do that. Klay's going to give you defense on the other end. It's going to be great until Klay goes through a dry spell. We haven't had to worry about that much because if Klay's struggling, Steph's probably not. And now, if Steph's struggling and Klay's struggling, KD's probably not. So it gets masked. When he goes to be, which technically, if he went to LeBron, obviously he wouldn't be the best, but he would then be number 2. When he becomes number 2, you get that number 2 treatment on the good and the bad. And when LeBron defers, when it's game 7 of the finals and they're down 2, LeBron drives to the basket, kicks it out to Klay, and Klay misses, it's going to be an ugly sight. Because why did he give the way? Jordan would have never passed. And then your Laker haters would be, that's what you get. Klay's not really good. He was only good in the system. It's going to be rough. So they are until they're not. And that's one reason I don't think he'll ever leave Golden State. Because I think
I agree with that statement.
I think him and Steph are old enough. They're veterans enough in that area. They're cool. They're just going to sit home.
And they're beloved.
Yeah, even if they go back to being just mediocre, they're back down to the regular world where they're a 3-4 seed. That's still going to be talented enough to sell out stadiums. They're still going to get the shots they want. They're still going to make it to the Western Conference Finals here and there, maybe even sneak into the finals if they can sign somebody. That's assuming that everyone but those two leave. So that's why I don't see them ever leaving, because it's perfect. And then he kind of showed it the other night when they asked him about his great shooting. They said, you look so calm. He said, you don't break NBA records being frustrated. When you go be number 2 for the Lakers, a very big market in the eyes of the NBA.
And LeBron.
It's hard not to get frustrated. Fans, if he shot 0 for 12 in a finals game, Klay Thompson, and they asked him, hey, you don't seem too upset, and his response was, you don't win 4 rings and break NBA records not getting frustrated, they would crucify that man. They would.
In LA, for sure.
Absolutely. The NBA, the big heads, the LA, yes, they would, because it's not as carefree as it is in San Francisco / Oakland, the Golden Bay. It's so carefree back there. Steph slips and then turns around and airballs a three-pointer, and we laugh. It's so great. It could have been Game 7 of the finals, and everybody's just having a great old time, because that's how it's been in Warrior Land. If you step outside of that, it's not that fun. It's going to be a lot stressful. Trust me, we live there. We don't live in beloved Golden State Warriors land. We live in the real world. It's not it's not as laid back. So I caution all 5 of those guys. You start chasing that check, just be careful. It's not going to be as fun.
My take on this is this would make the LA Lakers an instant contender if they were to get Klay Thompson. Only because who's going to beat LA? Steph Curry can't do it alone. He won't be able to do it alone. He needs Klay, and Klay needs Steph. So, that's the thing. The only team I see beating the Lakers with a LeBron is Golden State in the West. That's the only team I see beating them. And if you add a piece from the Golden State Warriors to this Laker team, that's a win-win.
Well,
that's a win-win for LeBron.
I do caution you: don't try to have your cake and eat it both, because it sounds like you're under the presumption that they lose Klay and KD and Boogie. I don't know what the future holds for those guys.
Yeah, just currently constructed right now. Let's say the Lakers had Steph. The Lakers had Klay, and the Warriors still had Steph. They still had KD. They still had Boogie, Draymond. The team constructed that they have now, minus Klay, you just put him on the Lakers. Are they a instant title contender? I think they're already a title contender now. But
favorite.
Will they be? Yeah, could they? Yeah, will they be a favorite to beat the Warriors?
I still say no, not now. And
I agree with that.
And if he leaves, if he somehow signs with KD or with LA, just imagine the truck they're going to back up to KD's house. Yep. You name a price, because then
it won't be too big.
Right, exactly. And let's pretend for a second they lose Steph and KD. KD wants to make his own. Boogie's getting the Brink truck, and Anthony Davis is getting a blank check. So they've tasted the success over the last 5 years. They aren't going back to Chris Webber land. They've tasted
I agree with that.
These owners know what it takes to be successful. There's not a star in the league, Giannis, AD, Joel Embiid, that if they lost Klay and KD, that they wouldn't say, you name your price, you will have the nicest house in one of the nicest cities in front of the nicest stadiums. You name your price, it's yours.
That is true. That's the thing I don't like about Golden State. Oh my God!
Well, see,
I can't stand them. I just can't do it. I look at Golden State as if they were like that. That nice red shiny Corvette at the dealership, and all you getting is the Impala. But I went there for the Corvette, and I just can't do it. I know what I'm getting with the Golden State Warriors. I'm gonna get a bunch of five All-Stars on one team that should win every game.
Well, is that not crazy to see all 5 of them on the same team?
On the same court.
It's
sickening.
It is.
I don't even want to watch basketball when they play. I'm just like, no.
It's so crazy If you think back to 2014 and around that era, it was all LeBron. It was the Heat. It was the Celtics. It was the Cavs. And how they snuck in. They drafted a guy that was too little, but he was a good shooter. They got a decent Klay Thompson. They got a second-round Draymond Green. And nobody sweated a bullet. Nobody even dropped an ounce of sweat when they made it to the Western Conference Finals and then lost. And then no one even said a thing when they were back in the finals because LeBron's got this. And then injuries happened and they won the title. Well, then next thing you know, what are we, 3 years later? You got KD. Now you're getting somebody. Everybody said Boogie was done. No, you never come back from that injury until the Warriors signed him, and now everybody was scared. Because
they say that's the worst sports injury. If you listen to any surgeon, orthopedic surgeon, they say Achilles tendon is one of the worst injuries that you can have. And then especially to be as big as Boogie is, it is the chances was very, very slim for him. And look at what he's done. But that's because you don't have to rush him.
Exactly. You don't have to rush him. He's not going to play on a team where he's getting triple teamed and people's kicking his leg. Shoot, most of the time he's wide open. If he could get his fouls under control, he'd be fine. But he's just aggressive.
And he's always been that kind of guy too.
But here's the thing: if there was one team that you could go to and foul out in a half, it's the Warriors.
It's Golden State. That's for sure. And that's why it's impossible for anybody to beat them. And Draymond Green said it himself. Everybody wants us to break up because they can't beat us, and they know they can't beat us. It's tough to beat a team like that, man. It is.
For any haters listening. I'm going to take it back before you guys wrap up, before I bounce out. If you're a Patriots hater, if you do not like the Patriots, I know everybody out there wants the overtime rules to change and you want the Rams to – no. As a Patriots fan, I'm telling you, if you truly hate the Patriots and you want them to be miserable, you better root for them this Sunday because Bill and Brady, I don't know when they're going to retire, but they will not retire on a Super Bowl loss. They will not. They will come back hungrier than they have ever been. If you want them, they need to beat the Rams 40-0. Tom Brady needs to throw 6 touchdowns. You need to be miserable for that 3 hours, and then maybe they'll walk away and then be horrible for the next 20 years. Then you can be happy. But I guarantee you, if you hate the Patriots and you hate them being successful, you do not want them to lose Saturday or next Sunday. You do not want that because if they do,
they're going to come back hungry.
Oh, they're coming back. And with young pieces, cap space, and 10 draft picks, they're going to get somebody.
Yeah.
So that's all
Bill
I'm saying.
Belichick don't miss. He doesn't miss often. But I would like to thank you, Matthew, for coming on the show, man. It's always fun when I get to talk sports with you, a guy that knows what he's talking about. It's always a pleasure to have you come on the show and talk sports with us. So we appreciate you for coming on.
We appreciate you, brother.
Absolutely, guys. And Billy, you know, I'm so passionate about sports that I don't like. I love a nice, relaxed, calm conversation. Yep. Even my man's passionate about the Bears over there. You know, he's very passionate about his hate for Alshon Jeffries. But the show keeps that cool, calm, keep chugging, relaxed podcast feel. It's an honor to be on here anytime. Thanks for having me, guys.
No, anytime, brother. All right, so that's going to be it for today's show, guys. I like to thank you guys for continuing to download the podcast as always, man. Y'all, we really do appreciate all the love and support that you guys show us. Just continue to download the podcast, bro. You want to take us up out of here?
As always, I'm your co-host OG Raw. You guys have a calm, blessed day. Be nice to one another. OG Raw signing off. Hey, have a good one, Billy.
Hey, have a good one, bro. I appreciate you, man, for everything. We'll see you guys tomorrow.